And we are live. Oh, welcome, mystery and thriller fans. I'm your on-air host and author, Sara DiVello, and I'm so excited to welcome back mystery master and one of my favorite writers and humans, King Walter Mosley, here to give us the inside scoop on his latest in the Joe King Oliver series, Been Wrong So Long It Feels Like Right. Walter, welcome back. Tell us about this book.
Oh, that's not. I mean, I'm not going to talk much about it because I never do. But it's Joe Oliver. He, you know him. He used to be a policeman, but he was so good at his job that the police tried to kill him, and he had to quit being a policeman and then go into work, on his own. He has a few people in life that he loves. He has his grandmother, his daughter. His kind of frenemy, the police dispatcher, Glad, and one psychotic killer named Hush, maybe a woman named Olia Ruiz nowadays. But that's the extent of the people he knows. In this book, he starts off. He's been hired by a very rich man that he's never met to find a woman, and when he finds the woman and he's talking to her under false pretenses, he realizes that maybe he's done the wrong thing. Maybe she's not bad, and maybe the guy that's looking for her is the problem. He leaves her. He tells her, says, "Look, you can leave now. I've told you I'm a detective. You can escape if you want. If you need help, call me." Then he goes and he sees, goes to his office. His daughter is there because she works for him, and also is his grandmother, and Grandma B, Brenda Naples, and Brenda Naples takes him aside and she says, "Look, I had this tumor, and it's pretty bad." And Joe's grandmother is, whenever he's asked her to help, she says no. I mean, it's not who she is. You don't help her. But in this case, he says, "Can I help you?" And she says, "Yes, you can." And he says, "What? I want you to find my son, your father, and either bring me to him or him to me." And now Joe thinks that his father's in prison. And Joe didn't like his father because when he got arrested, he thought he should get out of it. He knew how to get out of it, and he didn't because some moral code that he had. And Joe blames his mother's death on that. And so he says, "Well, just go to prison." He said, "No, they freed him 9 years ago." And he goes, "What? He's free? Well, how come I didn't know?" She said, "Nobody knew. He just, kind of disappeared. Now I need you to find him because I need to see him. He's my son." And I think probably she wanted Joe to see his father again before she died. She died. And that's it. I mean, that's how the story starts. It just so happens that his father's best friend had a girl who he needs to talk to, had a girlfriend named Leaf, and Leaf and Joe start to have a relationship, which might actually be pretty good. He said, "God, it might last more than 3 weekends." Be good. Maybe I'll do that. And so that's I mean, a lot of things happen, but there's a reason. I never tell a whole bunch of details of stories, not because it's wrong. It's just I don't think it's all that interesting.
Well,
yes.
It is fascinating, Walter, because I mean, first of all, I just love Joe and I love New York and I love this character. And I love Grandma B. Oh my gosh, I love Grandma B. Since we first met her, when Grandma B's boyfriend, Roger Ferris, hired Joe to go undercover, which Joe was very conflicted about. But I love that sassy little ballroom dancing 94-year-old has my heart. And so I was so excited to see her take center stage. And I'm so excited to chat with you about this character and about this writing process. We have so many people excited as well. Robin saying hello, Sara and Walter. Renee saying hi from Southeast Florida. She says, "This is such a great title." It's such a great title, Walter. Did you choose this title? Did you get to do the title?
Oh yeah. I did. Yeah, there was a book that came out in the '60s. A very big book, very popular. Uh, uh, and the title was "Been Down So Long It Feels Like Up to Me." And I've always loved that title, and so I'm just playing off of it, because I think that sensibility is Joe's sensibility.
Mm.
You're trying to do the right thing in the world, but the world is not a right place. So doing the right thing is very difficult, and he has to make a better life for himself, but he's on like a kind of a downward journey, and
Mm.
and so you know
Wait, so Walter, have you been percolating on this title for 40 years?
no, I just really liked it when I liked it. I liked the book too. I read it, when I was, in high school. And I thought it was a kind of a wonderful book, very, very, very dark. I mean, book, and and it ends. It's dark, 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 and it ends in a black place. It's like really wild, but
Mm.
I like that title, and so I just remembered it. I think that somebody in it said that. Somebody said to somebody else, "Been wrong. Yeah, I've been wrong so long it feels like right." And then I went, wow, wait a second, that's a good title. And then I realized that, I had been influenced by it.
I love that. And that you had that percolating somewhere in your brain and then realized that it came out. Yes, and Robin, it does sound very familiar. As soon as Walter said that, I was like, wait, I've heard of that book
Mhm.
as well. And that you were like, this is Joe King. This is his sensibility.
Yep, it is.
Mm.
And maybe the sensibility of his world. I mean, when you're dealing in the criminal world, or just the alternative worlds of New York, it's you feel topsy turvy in a way.
Why how okay, so when you're in Joe's mind, because you alternate back and forth between the worlds of Joe King in New York and Easy Rawlins in LA, as you
Hmm.
yourself alternate between the worlds of LA and New York,
Hmm.
Walter. So when you're shifting between these geographical places and these mindsets of these two characters, when the setting is its own character, tell us about that? Like, can you write LA from New York? Can you write New York from LA? Do you need to be
Oh,
there?
absolutely. I started writing LA and New York a long time ago. And I
Mm.
was just in New York. I was hardly ever in LA. But it's just a memory. But you can, we're writing fiction, right? So it's not like everything has to be real. I'm not. They may everything might have to be true, but it doesn't. All things don't have to be real, and so there's a sense of New York. You know the sense. It's the subway. It's the cold. It's all the tall buildings. It's people. People who really enjoy their lives, and they like you too. And you can have a great time with them. I find New York a much friendlier place than Los Angeles, actually. You know,
That is the crazy thing. People have this idea that it's this huge city, and so it's really mean and scary.
Mhm.
I find New York to be the friendliest place. You can meet and chat with people on the street in a way that you can't in many other places.
Yeah.
It's such a friendly place. But you go deeper when you in the first in Always a King, I remember you describing, he's going to visit Grandma B and Roger Ferris at Roger's Upper West Side mansion grounds, and it's like the
Mhm.
way that you described him getting to that place and to the Upper West Side, or going back to his office in Brooklyn, and Aja manning the desk, or transitioning between these neighborhoods, or when we open and he's hired by this guy to find his missing wife and daughter, and we open in a midtown restaurant. It's like you can feel the city, you can
Mhm.
feel the neighborhood, and I think I love that. You can feel, you write in a very textured multi-dimensional way, where the texture of the scene, of the neighborhood, of the people, I mean, you feel his suit, her silk, like it's so textural. It immerses me so deeply sensorially that I love that. Now, Walter,
Right.
what are you that I think I'm sort of like, oh yeah, oh my gosh, we have so many comments. I'm gonna get to them. Okay. Isn't that a song too? I don't know if it's a song, Renee.
I don't think
Been
so.
found
I don't
so
think so. I mean, it could be. You know, there's a lot of songs.
I know, we're gonna have to look that up. Ron is joining us. Oh, Ron, said hi earlier. Hold on, Ron. I'm gonna go back to your comment. When you first joined us, chiming in from Austin, Texas. Ron, welcome to the conversation. Good to have you here. And Ron is saying, I really love relevant details I can look up on Google Maps. It solidifies the setting for me. Right? I do that too, Ron. Totally. Because the setting in the book, the city is its own character. You know, when Joe's at his office in Brooklyn and and you sort of are understanding that the rent prices are rising and people are getting priced out. It's like you can really feel that in a subtle passing reference, and that orients me, grounds me in the place. Now, Walter, one of the things I think I'm sort of in awe of is what a machine you are. You are currently in a writer's room for a TV show. Everybody, Walter's the coolest. You already, as this Joe King book is out, you've already finished your next Easy Rawlins. And now you're working on another Joe King.
Yes. I'm
in awe. How do you sustain that creative energy?
Well, I think probably if I had to sustain it, I would have trouble, you know, but that's just not a question. What I do is I wake up in the morning and I write for 3 hours.
So you rise and write, no coffee. You were just
I might make coffee or something like that, but that's I'm doing stuff with the computer. The coffee is making, and I go get it. But I don't do anything else, and I do that, and I usually write about 1,000 words, and then I go to the rest of the day, and then the next morning, whatever I wrote yesterday has had a big impact on me, kind of in my unconscious or whatever. And then I start writing again. And that's goes on and on every day, 365 days a year. I might miss a day or two for travel or something like that. But as a rule, I don't. And then, I'm in a writer's room. I'm in the room. I talk, people talk, and we try to write scripts. And I think I'm writing a script for the show, which is nice.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and then and then other things, like I have a producing partner for film work, Diane Houseland. I wrote a script for The Man in My Basement, and that's been shot over there in Wales, and it'll be out here at the end of the year. So I didn't do a lot of work. I mean, I wrote the script quite a while ago, but then I didn't have anything to do because other people did it.
So I just want to make sure I understand. So you rise and write for 3 hours every day, 365 days a year, no days off, except for the rare day off for travel or something. But even then, you're squeezing it in for 1,000 words. And is it, if do you ever have a day where the words won't come?
No, and I think that the reason that I don't is that I look at writing any daily activity like one looks at psychoanalysis. Psychoanalysis existed a long time ago to deal with what they called hysterical symptoms. That hysterical actually meant women's issues, but then they realized no, men have it too, and so. And psychoanalysis is very good at dealing with that, and not necessarily with a lot of other things, but a lot of really brilliant things came out of that. And so if I write every day for 3 hours, when I get up the next day, there's all these new things in my head, like a psychoanalytic patient, there's new stuff every day. So there's no, like, if I didn't write for 3 days, I'd be starting not from scratch, but I'd have to sit there and try to remember what was going on, But the more I work, the more I work.
So Walter, are you able to, do you have to keep the series very separate in your head? Like I must write Easy until Easy's done. Then I switch to Joe and write Joe until it's done. Or are you brainstorming Easy for the first hour and a half, then Joe for the second hour and a half?
Well, I never do that. I only work on one thing a day, and I try to work on one thing for many days. The problem is I work every day. So like if I come to an end of a book, when I finish a book, I send it to the editor or to my agent or somebody, and then, so that's on Tuesday. So on Wednesday, I have to start writing a new book. So I'm writing a new book on Wednesday, and I'm working, and I get a certain way into that. And then somebody sends back the edited version of the novel. So, well, here's some changes we think you might, consider making. And then I start to work on that. And then I send that in, and then I'm still working on this one. And then, but I finished with this one. So then I start a third book. So it's usually no more than 3 books, but I'll have 2 months at a time where I'll only be working on one book. And then I may have to, branch off for, a few weeks and then come back to it.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. But you must have to, at one point, you must still be writing Easy, let's say, but then you're editing Joe, because they must overlap at some point, right? With just one publishing schedule. Okay. Robin's saying, so Walter, I'm hearing that writing is just part of life for you, where script writing may be a different aspect of writing. It's more of a job.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think that script writing is more of a job. I think there may be a day when I come across something, more artistic for me about film writing. I mean, I like working on film, and I think I'm good at it. It's interesting though, because it's a concentrated cultural phenomenon, and you don't make a movie for 1,000 people to see. You make a movie, for at least 200,000 people to see, and hopefully 20 million. And so that's so at some point or another, if I want to write something in a book that I think will make people not happy, books I've written, A Red Death, I think was like that. Diablerie was like that. But I don't care. I mean, fine. If people don't read a book or not that interested in a book, that's okay with me. You can't do that in film. You really, it's because it's too much money you have to spend. 10 million, 12 million, 300 million. It's like, okay, I just spent $300 million. I need to make 600 million.
Yeah. Yikes. Yeah. That's a lot of pressure.
You write a book and somebody gives you an advance. You may not make that advance back for like 10 years.
Exactly.
But you do make it back, and they get it, and they have the kind of financial structure where that works for them.
Ron wants to know, what would happen if Easy and IQ got together on a case, or intersected IQ from Joe Ide?
I don't know. That's a hard question. It works for me like in Marvel Comics. I mean, when Spider-Man gets together with Iron Man and they fight Dr. Doom, but I would never do that, and I don't think Joe would either. I think Joe Ide, not Joe King, Oliver, I don't have an answer to that question. But it's not just about IQ. It's like I could think about Sherlock Holmes, or I could do it, but I don't see why I would, or why anybody else would want to. Really
interesting. Jane wants to know, Walter, do you have a specific room where you do your writing for 3 hours every day?
When I'm in a place regularly, I pretty much settle in a place. Like where I'm sitting right now is where I write usually. But, I write every day. So I might, be in Detroit, or London, or, the South Pacific. I might be anywhere. And so then I have to find a place to write there.
because this looks like a beautiful room. The light coming in, the golden LA light is coming in. You've got beautiful artwork. That's your Walter space, your Walter writing sanctuary. But you're saying you could write on a plane, in a hotel room, in a bar, like you could do it anywhere.
I could write in a motel room overlooking the city dump, and it would be, the writing would be the same.
I love it.
It might not be as aesthetic, but
Well, Walter, this book is resonating with people. Library Journal awarding you another starred review and raving. Let's take a peek at it. That this is a gritty crime novel with a pace that never lets up. Mosley's best work since the incomparable Easy Rawlins series. Congratulations on that rave review. And they are not the only ones raving. Booklist also weighing in with a rave. Deeming this a gripping investigation of love, lies, crime, and rough justice, told with verve, wit, and wisdom. Mosley's astute and involving King Oliver series has tremendous appeal and true staying power. That rave review is from Booklist, and Publishers Weekly also weighing in, saying smooth, enjoyable. Series fans will enjoy themselves. I am a series fan, and I know I enjoyed myself. And Kirkus also weighing in and saying, as with Mosley's great Easy Rawlins series, there's simply no one else writing books like this. For me, I think, I'm on the wrong one. I want to get over to the Kirkus one. For me, I think that this review really resonated because I think there is no one else writing books like you do, Walter. And for me, it just feels multidimensional. It feels not just words on a page in a story, but it really is that 3D experience as a reader, immersing us sensorially. So I was so happy to see Kirkus recognize your excellent work. And y'all, the book is out now, and you can order it from our favorite woman-owned independent bookstore, and that is Murder by the Book. So whether you are watching with us tonight on Facebook or YouTube or any of the 7 destinations that we are streaming toward, here is that link where you can buy Been Wrong So Long It Feels Like Right and support our favorite woman-owned independent bookstore. Here is that link. So click and get your mitts on the latest King Oliver series. Walter,
yes,
you have not just written your movie script and the writer's room. Oh, someone had a question about the writer's room and the social aspect versus the solitary aspect. Hold on, let me scroll back to that one. Because the script writing is a bit more social versus the solitary writing. And you said right before we were live, I said, what is that like? You're in this room and you're just vibing with people and playing off each other's ideas. And it's sort of, does that feel invigorating? And you said you preferred novel writing. Tell us why.
Well, I prefer to write novels because I'm in charge of writing the novel. It's my book, and I don't have to worry about 20 million people. I say, well, can I get 20 million people to read this book? I doubt it. And I wouldn't want to write a book that 20 million people wanted to read because it would be you'd have to start flattening it out to fit very many kind of aesthetics in people, and so I really like it. The room is fine. I mean, it's like any other work environment. A couple of people you really get along with. A lot of people it's nice and friendly, which is social. Some people you probably don't get along with that well, but that's, and all of that is that's kind of the way things are. But hopefully you know how to treat everybody equally, and how to make sure that because the thing is we're doing the job, and you have to make sure that everybody's getting there to the end line of doing the job, yourself, everybody with you. I expect that kind of help, and other people, and a lot of times I'll be in a room and I'll be talking, and like people will be really quiet, and somebody will say, no, what he's trying to say is, and it's true. Sometimes you say something and nobody understands you, and you might need somebody to translate. It's interesting. It's fun. I'm working right now with Shaka King, hopefully doing a series about the detective characters of Chester Himes television series. It's great. It's great working with Shaka. He's really wonderful.
Oh my God, amazing.
And I've been talking to to TriStar, trying to do maybe a series of movies with them. We'll see. It's fun to meet with people and talk to people and work with people. But my father told me when I was a kid, he said, Walter, if you have the number of friends that you have fingers on one hand, that's good. So I'm not looking for large, a large social, group. I'm looking for life, and I have lives. I have good friends. It's fun to talk to them, and I'm old, I'm 73, and I find the older I get, the more, I want to concentrate on what I'm doing. And I love people. I love helping people. I love working with them. I'm very political. But that said, I'm not looking for sociality. I'm looking to make things happen.
I just spoke with my friend Helen, who's a professor in Australia. She's actually a professor. She's Australian, but she's a professor in Sri Lanka. And I've known her for, oh my God, 28 years. And she said, Sara, I think at the end of the day, you have your family and maybe 5 friends. Yeah. And that's, people who would really open a vein for you. And I thought that's really true. And the older I get, the pickier I get. And the more I look at energy as something that is like money, not unlimited. And so I'm being more careful and more selective with where I spend my time and energy and where I spend, just like, careful with money. And it's such an energetic shift from being more open to more targeted and focused. And I love that. Jane saying, what an interesting man. Yeah, I love that. So he told you that when you were a kid, Walter, and that stuck with you.
Yeah. My father's really smart. He was a really smart guy. And, and I understood. And sometimes I listened to him and sometimes I didn't. I mean, even if I thought he was right. I said, well, you're right, but I'm not doing that. I'm doing this. So, okay. You'll see. And sometimes I did.
So, Walter, as someone who has, written the movie scripts, works in a TV writing room, has so many incredible series under his belt, and has even taught a masterclass on erotic writing. You have literally done it all. Now that you're in this phase where you are being more selective with your energy and more thoughtful with your time, what other lessons as relating to your writing are crystallizing for you?
Well, writing is interesting because I have a really broad palette for writing. I've written a lot of science fiction. I just wrote a romance called, Galen, A Romance in Black, which, Amistad Press is going to come out with sometime next year. So I'll get through this year with but then next year. And that's going to be, a lot of fun. I like to write anything that I can write that because if there's a story in your heart. I wrote this book called John Woman, and John Woman is for lack of a better term, a literary novel. It's about a young man who has sociopathic tendencies, whose father is an autodidact who has read everything about history, and he's passed all of that knowledge on to his son. And the interesting thing about history, at the university, they always talk about, the deconstructionist, deconstructionist writer, or deconstructionist mathematician, or, you could be a deconstructionist, anything. Most fields don't accept deconstruction very well, but history has to, because there is no real history, not unless you know everything. And and I want to write a book about that, about history, about the idea that nobody can know everything. And so I couldn't write a mystery wouldn't work, science fiction, not really.
Mm.
A romance, well, no, but because the love is the love of knowledge. And of course, being a sociopath. And so so I wrote that book. You know what I mean? Like, who knows what book I'm going to write next?
Mm.
Because I mean, in the book, in the book Galen, that's going to come out, next year. It was so much fun because the main character's father, who's a big role in the book, he's on the spectrum.
Mm.
He's on the spectrum. He's married to this. He gets married to this black doctor, this brilliant woman, black doctor. This guy's married to her, and she loves him because he asked her why, and she says, "Look, most people I know don't see the world that they encounter. They have these ideas in their head, and they know things. Like they look at a woman and say, well, I know all about women. They look at a black person, I know all about black people. They look at the sky, well, I know all about the sky. Because of all the information they brought in, the amount of things that they see that are actually there are very, very small. But this guy, he encounters everything that he sees and hears. And she says, well, that's the kind of person I need to talk to in my life. And it's, there those things. Who knows what, I'll stop writing books when I die, but before then I'll be, trying to solve new problems that occur in my head.
Well, you may have just answered this question, but the last question we're going to take is from Renee. She wants to know, do you have anything on your bucket list? Is there anything that Walter Mosley dreams of writing or achieving or doing, or places you want to go? What's on your bucket list, Walter? I mean, you were given the 2020 National Book Awards Medal for Distinguished Contribution to American Letters. You were named a Grand Master of Mystery Writers of America. You were honored with the Ansfield Wolf Award, a Grammy, a Penn USA Lifetime Achievement Award, the Robert Kirsch Award, numerous Edgars, several NAACP Image Awards. I mean, the list goes on and on. You have achieved already so many things that people dream of achieving, just one of them. What's on your bucket list, King Mosley?
Well, I don't think that there's anything that I want to achieve that's on the list. You live through your life, and every day, is a different challenge, right? To who you are, as you're growing up, as you're getting older, as you meet people, anything physical, going on with you. But as far as writing is concerned, if I imagine a really big bucket for a bucket list, and there's all these little round things in it that are those are the things that I will want to do, but I don't know what they are. I haven't seen them. I haven't read them. I couldn't predict them. Well, it's just every once in a while I reach into the bucket and I come out and I'm okay. So I'm gonna write this romance, or okay, that's going to be the next thing on my bucket list. And then, in a few weeks, I reach in and I look for something else. I think it's more, because life, you should be surprised. I used to know this painter. A lot of people knew who he is anyways, Roy Lichtenstein. And Roy lived in my neighborhood in New York, and I used to see him a lot. And one day we were talking, I don't know how we got on the subject, but we were talking about what is art. And he said, and he said, well, I can't tell you what it is, but I can tell you what it isn't.
Ooh.
And I said, so what's that? He said, well, any painter who approaches a blank canvas and knows exactly what they want to put on that canvas, that is not an artist.
Ooh.
So I think there's always a moment. If there isn't a moment of discovery and surprise, then it's like, for instance, wanting to go, if I said I wanted to go to Montego Bay, if I've never been there, I don't know what it is anyway. So, but that doesn't mean I don't go, but you have to be open for it to be something else. And sometimes that's how you deal with other people. You have some friends of yours, somebody you're not a friend, just somebody you've met. might help you understand a world that you won't understand. I was in Ghana not that long ago, and I was with a group of people that are very serious, wonderful people, all of whom were white, and they thought that they thought that the Ghanaian men and women were begging, and they weren't. Because I started talking to this other guy, and he said, "Yeah, you notice they come up to you and they say, you want to buy a painting? Do you want to take a picture sitting on my horse? Do you want to go see some other part of the town? Have you been to the door of no return? I'll do any of these things with you." Because and it was like once I saw that, because I come from America, so well, anybody comes up and tries to push you to spend money or do something like that, those are people. They're con people. They're trying to cheat you. They're trying to
They're trying to help you. Yeah.
But it wasn't true. People were very friendly. And if you didn't buy their painting, they didn't get mad at you. They just and they didn't just turn their back on you. They say, because you said, well, listen, I was really wondering about this, and then you people start talking to you. I mean, people like when you spend your money, but people just also liked you for you, and I don't think I would have noticed that if I hadn't had that conversation. Someone said, you're looking at something, but you're not seeing it
because you're not seeing it, and then you switch your lens or your cultural expectations or your cultural programming, and all of a sudden it's a whole different experience.
Yeah.
Robin saying that moment that you had in that conversation of that is not an artist, that's not art. Wow. Yeah. Wow. That's shifting our perspectives, sharing that conversation.
Well, listen, you talk to people all the time and they don't know anything about art. They say, and they see a picture, say, well, an art is something that looks just like things look to me in the real world, like photographs, scenes. Sometimes that's true. But art is also your heart, being poured on into something else. And while that's happening, you're learning something. You're learning something new, and that's that's extraordinary. It's really an extraordinary thing. And of course it's very much there's a kind of A-type personalities that say, well, I know what I'm talking about. I said, yeah, I don't. I say a lot of things that I I thought I knew what I was saying until one day I realized I didn't, and that happens with my characters. Of course, it happens in writing.
What about that art behind you? Renee would like to know, what about that art? Can you tell us about the paintings?
Well, some of it, like the thing over here that I did a comic book for Marvel Comics, a 6-episode thing of the Thing, the member of the Fantastic Four, and that's one of the pieces of art. The thing next to it, the two things behind me are drawings that I did. Oh
my God, Walter, you did those?
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. I didn't know you painted. That's
cool.
And what about that one on the top with the woman's face under the yellow flower on the top shelf?
Let's see. Oh yeah, that's and really I forgot the guy's name. He's a very famous animator, and that's a 4-level cell of an animation. I got it somewhere. I forget where. And there's my dad. He's there looking at me.
Your dad with the 5 friends advice.
Yep, the 5 friends.
Oh my goodness. You guys, the book is out now. Been Wrong So Long. It feels like right. And again, I just want to give you that link one more time because you want to get your mitts on this book and immerse yourself into the world of Joe King. Oliver, Renee saying, wow, amazing on the art. Absolutely. So here again is that link to buy Been Wrong So Long. It feels like right. From our favorite woman-owned independent bookstore. Walter Mosley, it has been an honor and a pleasure to interview you again. Thank you so much for coming on and chatting with us. And thank you for enriching us with your views and your lessons on life and art and writing and shifting our lenses. It is just so enriching and so mind-opening. So thank you for that. And everybody come to Thriller Fest and meet Walter in person in New York City at Thriller Fest. Walter will be there. And I will be there, and I will look very much forward to seeing you there again, Walter. And people are just sending you so much love. And Robin saying, I absolutely love it when people share their spaces with us. Thank you so much. Looking forward to more great work from Ron in Austin, Texas. And to everyone who has watched with us and not commented, I see you too. Thank you so much. To Brenda, to Shannon, to Sarah with an H, to Joe, Nancy, Heather, oh my goodness, and Jane, Jane B, Sisters of the Traveling Book Club is watching with us. Great to have you all with us. Patricia, oh my goodness, Alan, thank you so much. Jane, Sarah H, oh my goodness, I can't get to everybody, but I see you. Thank you for being here. And Walter, thank you for being here. We are so grateful for this time with you.
And thank you so much. It's been wonderful. And I'll see you in June.
Okay, can't wait. Bye, everybody. Have a great night.
Bye.